Welcome back to another episode of the Angry Turtle Podcast. It's season 2, baby. Woo. Episode 2, Woo. Issue 2. And, you know, we have a wonderful guest with us today.
We sure do.
Seen this man performing ever since I started working at Helium. Very funny guy.
Extremely
intensely funny.
Extremely funny.
David Brooks. Hey.
Woo! What's up, guys?
Woo!
All right.
Hit the money.
Thank you for the intro.
Awesome. Let's everybody stare at him awkwardly real quick.
For about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm actually very good at that.
Yeah.
See, if white people stare at him too long, it becomes intimidation at that point. It's like, okay,
Oh,
I got it.
perfect. I can keep I'll keep doing it. It's
Yeah. Yeah, that is awesome. So David, it's good seeing you.
Yeah, man.
See you guys again. Thank you guys for having me.
Oh,
Oh, no problem. I'm glad you're taking the time to come on.
Oh, no problem.
It's been great, man. It's like, I was wondering, it's like, how long you been doing comedy and like, what got you like, you know, I'm like, you know, fuck, I'm gonna do this shit.
It'll be 6 years in October.
nice.
Oh, damn, yeah.
It'll be 6 years. Kind of wanted to do it since I was younger. My mom watched a lot of comedy growing up. She watched a whole lot. So I started doing improv at Second City, and then
sick.
Oh, you started with improv.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool.
That's fucking awesome.
So are you one of the people who says improv's better or they're about the same?
I think improv's a lot more happier.
That makes sense.
But I think improv it teaches you a lot of things that you can use in stand up.
Oh, nice.
Improv people are scared of stand up. Stand up people are scared of improv.
That makes sense. And like, that's like, would think we do the opposite. I feel like we're taking improv here and then going into stand up. And that's been helping me personally is doing this.
Yeah. I would personally like to try doing improv. I think it was just another skill set to have. But I haven't done it yet either.
Yeah.
I definitely would like to try.
What was like some comedians that you watch? You're like, all right, yeah, that's like any
Just stand up or any.
yeah, it's like any comic thing that you were like, oh fuck yeah, that led you to this point. That really stood out.
Well, there's a lot of them. I really liked. My mom watched so much stand up, so she would hang out with her friends, and that'd be like one of the times I saw her like happy a lot. So she would watch a lot. So like she used to order Def Jam on VHSs.
Oh, man.
And they would get sent to the house. So I watched those, like memorizing like Chris Tucker's first set. He had a joke about how the cockroaches in his house are fighting like Crips and Bloods. So that was a joke I liked. And
Relatable.
I watched Bernie Mac, but my mom watched like Dennis Miller, and she watched George Carlin a lot, and Janine Garofalo and Margaret Cho. But I think I really became obsessed when I watched Dave Chappelle. I think Dave Chappelle and Margaret Cho is some of the few people, and Ron White too. I like Ron White a lot. So like those people made me feel comfortable to do it.
I like that. Yeah, it's weird how comedy can have that effect on you. Then like later in your life, you're like, you know, I'm gonna try that shit.
Yeah, I always wanted to. I just never tried it. But improv led me to it. I met a guy in the improv class who did. He was doing stand-up. I don't know if he does it as much anymore, but he did it, and he told me I should try it out.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I feel like it'd be a good route. Just being on stage, I feel like it would help, especially being like that crowd work moments and shit.
Yeah,
and
I
just
was
like
gonna ask, did you ever have stage fright?
no, not really. Because
yeah.
I performed a lot younger. I just want to make sure I'm learning.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to keep learning.
Yeah.
So it's not so much super. I think everyone has stage fright. I just think for me, it's just a little bit of anxiousness with about, am I going to do this correct? But it's not too much.
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Do you feel like it's getting easier as 6 years into it, writing new material? Or do you feel like that you start getting like a writer's block or?
Yeah, no. I think you get to certain levels where like when you start off, you're very naive and very excited. So your mind is thinking about stand up a lot.
Yeah.
But then you're trying to put together a set. Then let's say you get booked on a show. So you're excited because you remember these milestones of you're on a show, I'm on a show, I'm on a show. And then you start doing it. Then you see other comedians where you realize, oh, I'm not really that good. You know what I mean? I'm not really that.
Yes.
I don't have this time.
I know the feeling.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's hard at the beginning.
Correct.
Yeah, and then, I still do that a lot now. It gets easier. Sorry, I'm not answering the question. It gets easier, I guess, when you know your style. I just haven't done it super long. So for me, it's like I feel like it's abrasive to be like, yeah, it gets easier in this realm. I think it just gets harder at different stages.
Oh, good
Yeah.
to know.
You can get stagnant. You get writer's block. It just depends on how you want to do it. I just think if you just focus on the work and you don't worry about what you want to have, whether I'm a host of the club or get this, as long as you don't get caught in your head with that, you'll be fine. Just trust your mistakes.
That makes sense. It's like, yeah, that's been, yeah, I know it's like kind of like looking at your peers and being like, oh, fuck, I don't want that. It's like, you can't really worry about that too much because it's just going to poison you.
No, you
To the
can't.
point.
There's a lot of stuff I want to, and everybody's situation is different, right? Like everyone's situation is different. My situation of doing stand-up is different. I've done the majority of my stand-up career, I've been on probation or house arrest, so there's certain things I can't go do. And then you work around that.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just different. But I've gotten to do a lot of stuff I never thought I'd get to do because I didn't worry about it. And then as you get older, it's harder. You get more seasoned in stand-up. You get a little bit more anxious about stuff you should be doing when you just always should be working on your material. That's about the number one goal.
Nice.
So do you find it easier out of town to perform, or do you like working closer to Indianapolis? Do you see a difference?
I try to break it down. I mean, at first I was nervous. Like last year when I did Zanies in Nashville, I was nervous because it was a club that a lot of people have gone to, and Nashville's become this big. I mean, it's always been, but it's become this big place for stand up. And I was nervous because the room had all. It was the first time I've been in a green room where like a lot of people, besides a Comedy Store, but like Zanies is the first place I went where I could like. All these posters are like people that have like really been there and that was just there, whether it was like Chris Rock or Amy Schumer, these people that like really have done it. So, and then you're around these comics who work with these people. So I was a little nervous, but I just break it down to there's a microphone, usually there's a stool, and there's an audience. That's pretty much universal. So you just keep it moving.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good advice.
Yeah, it is. That's really good advice.
Yeah, I like going out of town personally just because I
Yeah.
feel like I get more love out of town versus in town. Everybody see my set over and over, and you start to get that like law feeling when you're at an open mic.
See, I'm not. I'm afraid to go out of town.
I get a lot more like people come up and talk to me out of town. People offer me sets out of town, and then I get in town and it just feels. It seems like the opposite.
I feel like I kind of hurt myself in the scene a little bit just from the way I got into the scene, just from being at Helium. So I was like, I feel like people have seen me just from being the door guy. But then it's like, I think now sometimes when people see me doing comedy, they're just kind of like, this fucking weird ass motherfucker.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone, when you go out of town, it's like the new kid in school, right? Or the new girl in school, or like everyone's seen these people. And now there's someone new, so they're interested. That's why I think when you go out of town, it's interesting because no one knows who you are, and you feel like there's less expectations. But if you're just funny, it really doesn't. It doesn't fucking matter if you're funny and you're respectful, and you keep getting better. I think that's a lot of us as comics is issues that you got to continue. Like you said, work at the door. Like okay, they look at you as a door guy. Like Mark Maron, a lot of people worked at the door. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people worked at the door, guys. So like, if you're funny and you're working hard and you're taking advice and you can be open, for obviously positive reinforcement, you'll be okay. You just got to keep focusing on it and learning.
Yeah.
And I that was the nice thing about me is when I got into stand up, I didn't know anybody in the indie scene. So people now look at me and they think, oh, he knows everybody and everybody.
I feel like I look at you and I'm like, yeah, he's like, okay. For me, starting out, there's certain people in indie where I'm like, oh yeah, they're like, that's what I think of you.
Oh, I appreciate it.
I'm like, yeah.
I wish my peers felt the same way.
I'm like, because I feel like I always see you.
Yeah, definitely a top tier
And
comedian.
every time I see you, you always kill it.
Yeah, because
So I'm
like I see some of
David
a
is-
lot of the local comedians, like, you know, it's like, so it's like, you know, then you see you come on, it's just like, you know what you're doing, you know what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, seems like, you know what's going to be funny in that moment. You know what to pull out.
Yeah, most times. I just think for me, I just was obsessed with the work. At the first, because these people weren't my friends. People don't know me. They're very standoffish when I started. It's a lot different. I think it's a lot different now, but it was very standoffish, and I love the comedians I'm friends with now that were standoffish to me, but they don't speak to you, and you're excited because you're new. Mm-hmm. But I had a comic, Logan Baird. I love Logan. He used to live here. He's very funny guy, and he told me just keep working at what you're doing. I mean, you'll find people that you'll hang out with, but just like keep working. So I came everywhere. You know what I mean? Like a lot of comics that saw me, whether it was like Carrie Klaus saw me a lot. Like a lot of comics, Avery, they saw me out at places a lot, even though it wasn't good. You know what I mean? People look at it now and goes, oh, he's always done what he is. It's like, no, I just was obsessed. So I was doing it a lot and writing a lot and listening to my sets when I went to bed, waking up to my sets, listening to it, just certain stuff. Just doing the work. It wasn't good. You know what I mean? So, but you keep working and then you find some things and then you can't get, like you said, you go to places and you feel like people hear the same set. I think you have to realize where you're at, right? If you're brand new, obviously the way I can work on new stuff and the way you can work on new stuff is two different things. Yeah. Doesn't mean you can't work on stuff. But also, it's like I guess it's like a lawyer that gets a lot of cases, right? They get a lot of trials. Obviously, they can turn over and get hired for their retainer because they have a little bit more experience opposed to someone that just started off with their own own firm. So if you just look at it like, okay, well, I want to get on these shows, so let me just focus on this 5 to 7 minutes and make sure undoubtedly I can say this 5 to 7 minutes in my sleep, punch it up on stage, feel comfortable. I think everyone hangs out with everyone, so they want to get to, I want to do 10 minutes right now. I want to do 15 minutes right now. I worked on my same 5 minutes for like a year and a half when I first started.
Wow.
That's what I'm doing now.
Every single mic, it was the same jokes. Wow. But I don't tell any joke verbatim. So I was like, how do I not stay stagnant in my brain? I'll flip the order. I'll flip the order of the joke. I'll work on my transitions. Because when you first start, your transitions can be a little weird. You don't know how to phase into the next joke. Unless you're like a one-liner comic, which is fine. But
I'm glad you said that too, because that's like shit I've been thinking about. It's like doing that, and I'm like, oh fuck, am I doing this wrong? So it's like,
and then sometimes people ask you, they're like, can you do 20 yet? Can you do 30? And it's like,
I was like, bro,
no. And then there's no problem with saying no.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There isn't. People think that there's like a bad thing of being like, oh, well, I can do 10 because I can do 5. I always tell people like, I did the same 5-minute set pretty much. And then there's certain jokes you do that don't work that you can come back to later when you're better. I heard that. But like just make sure the 5 minutes is undoubtedly like bulletproof. Like it's bulletproof. I think a lot of people want to do 10 minutes. 10 minutes is a lot of time when you don't know if your 5 minutes is bulletproof. Yeah. Obviously, there's no right or wrong way to do it. That's the thing about comedy. It's like, oh, there's this way. There's no right or wrong way. There's some people I've seen that have gathered their 10 minutes quite quickly, but then they haven't punched it up or something. Yeah. Like I gathered a feature set quickly, like really quickly, and then I realized that some of it wasn't bulletproof, and doing a longer set is a lot different than doing a 30-minute set. That's 6 5-minute sets. Yeah. Maybe I only have 2.5 5-minute sets that's really good, and those last 4 is kind of some mid. You know what I mean? So you figure it out.
Do you have any of those moments where you're kind of like you're like in it and then like you're about halfway through, you like start to kind of slide off, or do you think you got your time to a point to where like you're not worried about like forgetting your shit or like running out, basically?
Running out of material?
Because I noticed, well, obviously, I mean, I haven't been doing it as long, so I don't have as much material. So like there's times where like I'll get up there, I'll start doing my set I've done for weeks.
Yeah.
But then like I'm in the middle of it and all of a sudden it's like, where to go? Where to go? Yep. I can't fucking find it for some reason. It's like
I do something before my sets where I write down verbally and physically, if I'm watching it, what I need to work on. And it has nothing to do with the jokes. So I'll write down like I looked at an old notebook I had actually 2 days ago. This is from 2016. And I wrote, and some of the same things I need to work on that I put in there. I wrote down, focus on your order of where the jokes was going. That doesn't mean like the actual joke. Just focus on, if you can get to this joke then I'm not worried because I'm comfortable that I performed it as best I can, whatever the reaction is, right?
Yeah.
So I write down goals of what I want the set to look like. I want it to be, I want to speak more clear. I want to have a little bit more energy. I want to play with this word. And not everybody has energy, right? Like sometimes I don't. I can be very docile on stage, but also I can have energy. How do I phase in and out? Have fun. Always make sure you have fun. You do it more. You'll be more comfortable with the time.
Yeah.
You just do them. I did it a lot when I first started. So nothing in my brain I could forget. Now it's different because I'm at a different whatever level, whatever you would say. Or like now, there's old jokes I used to do that I like that I sometimes I'm so scared I'm going to forget them that I remember those and then I tag them up on stage while I'm performing. Okay. But then the new joke that has been going well, I'll totally forget something in the moment because I haven't been practicing it at the mic. So I just think whatever works for you, the repetition. You'll be fine. You won't worry. Just don't worry about forgetting stuff because you won't forget it all. You'll forget some word.
Yeah,
obviously there'll be something you'll fucking miss.
Yeah, it's like basically setting yourself up for failure too. If you're just like, I'm gonna forget, because I did that when I was hosted. I was like, first host at the Fountain Square Brewery. I was like, I'm gonna forget people's names. Sure enough, I forgot. I fucked up names.
First of all, this open mic was at Morty's. The guy closed out. He's a friend of mine too. He brought me my first feature set. TJ Weary. He's very funny. Out of Lafayette. I hope I got that right. He had credits and stuff, and I thought it was TJ Weary. And like he had told me, I had circled it on the mic list and everything. Still pronounced it wrong. Still brought up the wrong person.
Oh no!
You know what I mean? So you're gonna make those those mistakes. That's why it's essential to host a mic, to host stuff, watch a host. Okay, they're doing table talk, they're doing this, they're doing that, because then you'll see. Okay, that stuff fills time when I'm doing. You host your first Helium weekend, keep your table talk to a minimum, tip your servers, like all that regular shit. That's like not whatever, like because you're just hosting there. You know what I mean? So. You want to make sure you're not forgetting too much, but you're going to forget something, dog. Like,
that's fair.
It's going to be some shit that you just going to forget.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Headliners forget stuff. And that's crazy to me because I'm like, they're getting paid fucking good money and they forget. And they're like, so what? I have to just write it down, listen to it, and do it the next time. Yeah. I was just like, oh, okay. That's where improv helps me. It's just in the moment.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's... I feel like I improv shit a lot.
Yeah.
And I'll commit to a fucking bit I will just commit to a bit, even if it's not funny.
But you'll get more comfortable in doing that. I'm trying to exercise my improv brain more. I did it last night because I'm so meticulous on trying to make sure I do the set right, not step on jokes, and have a complete set of cohesive.
That makes a lot of sense.
No, it does.
So you performed at the Sunday show. What was that, after the Limestone Festival?
Yeah.
Were you nervous there with all the other, traveling comedians? Did that put pressure on you by chance? Did you feel any kind of tension there that night? Or?
I used to a lot. Like I said, Zanies I did in Nashville. But then I just have to remember, when I played football in college, or high school, my coach used to say, what did he say? Small memory, big ego. So he was like, you're going to make a mistake and you need to forget about it. And your ego needs to be good enough and big enough to where like, you'll do it again the next time. So for me, I just look at it like a Sunday show, fucking, okay, all these guys are on Limestone and this is great. Mm-hmm. And I've never done Limestone. I never applied. So but I've never done it. So some of these comedians I don't know, but I know Alex, I know other comedians. Mm-hmm. I trust that I'm going to do well. I've done this room before. I know this room better than they know this room. Mm-hmm. I know the city better than they know the city. Mm-hmm. I have to have some solace in being like, I can perform. But you just want to make sure you're funny. Yeah. That's why I tell people, make sure you're ready for everything. So that way, you never could be ready, but like make sure you are working hard enough so that way you don't get in your head about that.
That's true.
Yeah, I've done a lot of rewriting just on my 5 minutes. It seems like I find a little tweak here or add a little bit here. And I figured it could take a lifetime to write your first set, so I don't think there's no rush for me personally, but it is a process. And then you start like looking into like satire. Like there's a lot of different categories of comedy. There's psychological ploys that trigger people's response. Yeah. And there's a lot into it. So it's almost like a job where you pretty much got to study for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years to be able to grasp it all, I feel like. So I'm kind of hoping that's the way to look at it, but
I heard a comedian say there. She was like, I think Christina P. She was like, minimum 10 years. She's like, minimum before you feel like anything. She's like, or feel or see really any success out of it. She was like, minimum was like 6 to 10 years.
Yeah, I think,
like,
yeah.
That makes sense.
I just don't, I try to think about stuff like that. I try to think about how much I can make sure it's good and it's getting better and I don't get content.
Yeah.
Content with my materials. Because I know most of my material is funny. I know it works. Most places I know it works. So it's easy to fall into that trap of being like, all right, well, this works, I'm fine. But like I said, everybody's at different levels. How Nate Bargatze feels about a certain time and how I feel about a certain time on stage, completely different. Way
That's
different.
fair,
You know what I mean? Like he got multiple hours. I do not. You know what I mean? He's done it way longer.
Oh, yeah.
He's done way more stuff. He is, been through the ringer way more. Same with Christina P, right? Like she's just done it longer.
Yeah.
So there's certain shit that she can maneuver and fix on stage. And there's certain scenarios she's never not been in. There's still certain scenarios I've never been in. And the more scenarios you get, you understand the circumstance. And as long as I understand the circumstance of what I'm doing, just perform the jokes.
Yeah, have you gotten heckled? Well, I'm sure you have, but like, how do you normally handle that when you do get heckled?
Sometimes I'll ignore them.
Oh, nice.
Sometimes I will, depending on how loud it is. I haven't been heckled too bad, but sometimes I ignore them. Or sometimes I will, I always tell them, listen, I have the microphone. So at the end of the day, you'll always lose this battle because my word will I will get the last word regardless because you don't have a microphone.
Yeah, exactly.
And I have the power to make sure you get kicked out of the show.
Oh, yeah.
So
they can turn my voice up, not yours.
I'm not mean, but like, I just don't.
That's true.
I try to ignore them sometimes. You know what I mean? Most I can. It's hard when they're in the front row and stuff. You know, and sometimes you will make a mistake. Like you will say something to them, and then the crowd's quiet. Then now you derailed your set, and that's a scenario I've been in sometimes. But how I would handle it, and like I said, how Christina P will handle it is different because she knows some tag, some joke to just maneuver out of there gracefully. Whereas if like I have to learn to not be too mad, I have to learn not to be too nice, not to encourage it, which is why I do a joke at the beginning where I do crowd participation, right?
Yeah.
But I tell them, this is where it ends.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
This is where it ends. There's no more crowd participation.
Yeah,
I'm letting you get out of your fucking system
See,
now.
okay, this is what we were talking about last week is now that you've explained that, I will never, when I see you again, I will like never see your set the same. Does that make sense?
Well, explain. What do you mean?
So I think the last time I saw you was at the White Rabbit, like last week. I don't know.
Yeah, the recording?
Yeah, it was a recording.
Yeah.
And I know what you're talking about. You did crowd work, and it was like, when I say, you say.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's funny. But the way you just explained it, I'm like, no, there's a that's a part of it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm still
And I
wrapping
messed
my...
that joke up. I messed that joke up
What?
bad. I messed that joke up real bad.
You did?
Oh, I messed it up so bad.
See, this is...
Because at the end, I was busy. That's the thing. Like I tell people all the time, I go,
You messed it up. It was...
was it Bargatze said somebody? I keep thinking of Bargatze now. What is someone said? As a comedian, it's like a magician. Like the magician don't like as a crowd in Vegas. You don't really know if the rabbit's coming out of the hat or not.
Yeah.
The lore of the magician is, I got you believing that this rabbit is coming out of this hat.
Yeah.
They don't know. The crowd doesn't know. I always say this. People get mad. Go. The crowd is stupid.
It's true though.
They're intelligent, but they're stupid.
That's true.
No.
They don't realize what the work behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you do it enough, then someone, even a comedian, someone else can't tell you mess up the joke. I know I mess up the joke. I was upset I messed up the joke.
Mm-hmm.
But then I wrote down in my set, when you mess it up, like I've said, when you mess up a tag or something, do this, do that. I'm trying to learn how to get out of scenarios gracefully without getting in my head and being like, well, now they know you're bad. Now this bomb. Like, because then all those thoughts just flood your brain.
Yeah,
I definitely deal with that.
Yeah.
I beat myself down. I'm a perfectionist, so sometimes I could catch myself being a little emotional with it. So it's tough not to when you care.
What helped me is I'm already hard to like. So like out of like first interactions, it's like, oh, there's something wrong with this motherfucker. But it's like first interactions, it's like, so it's like I'm kind of used to that kind of like if I say dumbass joke and people look at me like I'm stupid, it's like I'm already used to that reaction, so it doesn't really hit me too hard.
Yeah.
But the only difference is I'm on a stage.
Well, I enjoyed the last where we were at Fountain Square Brewery. The girl in the back was like, I don't know if I'm even supposed to laugh, and I'm like, that's a good reaction.
She said that to you?
No, when he was up performing, he started talking about how his dad.
I don't know what was to laugh.
Yeah,
That's my.
Yeah, but
I think you're so funny. That's hilarious.
yeah, I count that as a laugh.
That's
Me too. I was
Yeah.
like,
I don't know how to feel.
But
about
yeah, like she is, Lauren said, like, yeah, you just learn certain ways to get out of it with the crowd participation. Because like I don't do much crowd work. Not yet. I just don't. Because I don't want to hear from the crowd.
yeah, fair.
Like I don't want you to laugh. I don't care what you really have to say. I never have. Like maybe I will one day, but like as of right now, like
That's funny.
nah.
It's like,
But if they get them on your side or whatever and stuff, like they will. It's not malice. I'm not like, malicious on stage. I'm not. I just like also need to have respect. Like I did a show once where they were like talking during the set or something. I was doing well, but they were like talking. And I said, well, I can tell you guys are poor and never been to an opera. Opera, you're supposed to shut up. But none of you have class or ever been to a play, so why would you guys stop talking?
Did they laugh at
Yeah,
that?
they laughed because I got their attention.
yeah.
I got your
That's been
attention.
great.
Like you now, I'm telling you what you're doing is wrong, but I'm not being malicious with it. But I'm also telling you, like, you are wrong. Like, you don't want to come to the show and laugh. That's fine. You don't have to.
Yeah.
I'm not wasting money to go sit in a movie theater just to talk the whole movie. If I want to
exactly.
do that, I can watch the movie at the crib.
But that's the other thing. I saw you at, I think it was Joker's. And you got up and you were like, this place is, you basically like, this place is a shithole.
The show was disgusting.
Like I thought that was
This is
hilarious.
gross.
And I'm like, you're
You guys
so
are-
authentic, and everyone's like, yeah, that is funny. Yeah, we should shut the fuck
Yeah,
up.
it's nasty. Yeah, you guys think you're better than you're sitting.
So funny.
on a mouse, like it's like a mouse trap sticky pass on the floor.
Yeah.
Foul.
It was pretty bad.
It's gross in there.
It was pretty bad.
I've done shows like that before. I'm just like, are you kidding me?
But yeah,
What are y'all stuck up about? Y'all paid to be here.
that's
No
true.
shit.
That's true.
It's like I can go stand in a restaurant and it'd be better.
Yeah, literally.
Man, that was so funny.
So do you find now that you got comfortable with local comedians, do they give you advice? Or because
Nah.
I personally can't ask anybody for advice without them like being standoffish still. So I don't know if that's like ego getting in the way or if
Yeah,
that's,
both. I think them seeing you a bunch. It's just way more nicer than it was when I started. And comedians, will, if they even hear this, they'll hear it and be like, "That's not true." I'm like, yeah, it is. Though. They were like just super mean, which is fine. I play sports. I understand.
Yes, Telfie, I see you.
They're like they're very standoffish. But I think what you have to do is that consistently keep working. Don't have any expectations, right? If you have a tag or you have something you would like to have someone watch, they might watch it, they might not. It's cool if they do. It's cool if they don't.
yeah.
Right? I remember the first person to give me a tag at Crackers, disgusting club.
Oh,
I have no problem naming their name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually.
But that was in Bar
I was
when
like,
I first started. That's where I
the reason I
first
haven't
started.
been.
And I did a joke, which I still sometimes will do, but it's completely different. I did a joke about trying to be healthy. And Brent Terhune was there. And I'd seen Terhune when I was in like high school. He started stand up like a while ago, and I saw him once. And he was like, hey, and the way he did it, that's how I learned how to like talk to a comedian, like just tag it up. He was like, hey, that joke you did, and he like repeated it. He was like, you could use this if you want or go in this direction if you want. I was just thinking of it. He's not telling me what to do. He's not telling me my joke is bad. He's not coming. He doesn't have to talk to me. Because I'm thinking that no one's going to talk to me anyway because I just started. So there's no reason for him to fucking even look me in the eye. You know what I mean? But he gave me that. So I think if you talk to comedians, you don't have to take their advice. If they don't want to give it, that's fine. I just think there's a healthy balance of not always being super brand new, like 2-3 months in, and hounding like comedians you do not maybe have had conversations with, right? You had a conversation with me, I've talked to you, that's different. Opposed to like now where comedians are just start, they'll go like to a helium show and they'll like go up to headline like, what do you think of this joke? And I'm like, dog, they don't fucking know you.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's certain comedians I just won't do that with because I don't know them on that personal level.
Yeah, that's true. I always find that situation super weird because like there's obviously times where like there's been one time where Andrew Santino came. I was like, hey man, what do you think about this joke? And like, could you give me like like advice on it. He was cool about it, but also now looking back at that, it's kind of weird to come out of the blue and be like,
yeah, because you don't
hey,
know.
man.
Santino was mad. Like, he was super cool, man. I could hang out with him. He was mad cool. Like, he was a cool dude. And I just think that it's hard because you're excited, right? Mm-hmm. You're excited. You're naive. Mm-hmm. You want to do a lot. You want to be welcomed and all this. But I tell people all the time, it's more fun when you first start because it's not like it's less fun now.
It's only downhill from
But it's more fun because you're naive, you're excited, you don't know what you're doing wrong. Opposed to where I'm at now, like now, I'm just bothered by doing stand-up sometimes. And not because I don't like it, I love it, but because I want it to be a certain amount of this, a certain amount of that. Yeah. I need to submit to this. It becomes more of a business, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But I try to like dumb it down, make sure I'm still having fun. Yeah. I'm still doing this. I'm not worried about how it was then, how it was now. Like comedy's changed since COVID. A lot differently. Mm-hmm. Like when I started, there's no way you could do a club show and you'd only done stand up for like a month or two. Like no spots, no nothing, no like period, point blank. Like don't even think you could do that. Mm-hmm. Whereas now, like at Helium, I'm sure Avery gets a lot of submissions of people that are brand new. Yeah. I wouldn't even, I never even imagined submitting to anything my first year of comedy. Mm-hmm. Like submitting to, I think I made one mistake when I first started, like that big. Mm. I submitted to, I think that's the only time I submitted to Limestone. Like 6 months in. Mm-hmm. Didn't know anything about submitting tapes, didn't know about anything this. And like, I'm sure they remembered or didn't remember. And it was horrible. It was on my camera phone. It wasn't good. I didn't know. Mm-hmm. Never did that again because I was like, all right, I don't want to waste money and I want to just focus on the work and not what comes to it. You know what I mean? And you just ask people questions if you feel comfortable with them and you don't have to take everybody's advice. And most comedians at my stage or have done it longer, they don't necessarily, some of them don't want to take advice. Some of them don't like it. I don't care. I'll try anything. You guys have seen me perform. I'll try jokes 10 different ways. I truly don't care.
Yeah.
That's good though too, because like you also, like you said, keeping it fresh for yourself too, and
so I'm not stagnant. Yes, I can't do the whole say my joke the same exact way, the same. That's good and it's bad. It's good because if you know you're killer 5, killer 10, you really can put it in order. Whereas me, it's like I know, but it really just depends on what I feel like doing that day.
I agree.
Do you have a joke that is like that you tell that generally won't get a shit ton of laughs because of the nature of the joke, but you still tell it anyway?
Lately I have, but I think I'm going to scrap it. It's a joke about Harriet Tubman being a bad employee.
That's fair.
And they do not like it.
I like it.
They just don't. Yeah. It's a joke. They're like, well, slavery wasn't a job. I'm like, it's a joke.
I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I've heard a few of your jokes and I've seen the crowd reaction. There's like kind of almost like a
So I worked on it with like a Princess Diana tag and other stuff, but like I like where it is. I guess some of the jokes I try when I started, like I said, when you'll start off and you'll try jokes that don't work. I tried to do a lot more stuff about my parents' death and that didn't work because I wasn't at a place to do those jokes. I wasn't good enough to do it. Yeah. But now last night I did like 15 minutes on all of that. Of just the death and the grieving and that and the funeral and like more.
I remember your grandma, the one with your grandma. I remember that. She was laughing at the horror movie.
Yeah, that's like brand new. So that's when I started thinking of grieving, how interesting grief is, how it's not all horrible. Yeah, it's there is, and that there are no stages of grief. That there are none of these things that we read a book. The 5 stages there are 5 stages.
That's true.
It's a decade worth, or it's 2 decades worth, or it's forever worth. Like, but it can come in good, bad, ugly. Come in anyway. So like that's why I like doing those. But those are hard to do. Like that was the first set I did where I was like mentally exhausted from doing it.
Oh, really?
You're speaking a lot of stuff that is
personal.
Up. Yeah, it's personal. Which I do personal stuff. It's just like that's a lot different. When I'm talking about my parents dying. Like that's and make it into a joke and entertain them. Then if it doesn't go well,
I feel like, is that frustrating? Like, okay, like the first time you did it, if you make a joke about something personal and people laugh, was that weird? Like afterwards? Is that why it was exhausting?
I think it was exhausting for me because that was the first time I I improvised like maybe 7 minutes of that. I had it written down in my mind. I knew where I was gonna go. That's just for me doing it a bunch, so I know where I'm trying to go. Mm-hmm. But it's you speaking it out. Mm-hmm. and talking about it and knowing when I tell a story where I need to have tags and stuff at. But it was just exhausting because it was like, oh, you just went up there and did. You might have a new 15 minutes or not even a new 15 minutes, a new direction of trying to get to a new 10 maybe of this material. So now what are you trying to say with this? You have some other jokes, but you need more jokes.
Yeah.
So now and then you get scared because you're like, and now I'm gonna bomb with a lot of these personal jokes because they're gonna have to because they're not good.
Yeah.
I think it's where I started off that way. Like I started off like, okay, daddy dying, fucking
Yeah.
bunch of shit.
Depression.
I'm gonna start with all this shit.
Yeah, you start, and that's what I want to do.
And I was like, and it helps out because like, I mean, I wasn't close to my dad to begin with, but it's like, I just feel like making his death situation to me personally is like super funny. It's like, I feel like, because it's like, especially because like I have a joke where it's just kind of like, my girlfriend left me for my dad, but it's like, that wasn't true, but the end of the part, I just said that he died and he was cremated, but that part's true, which I like shit. I like that kind of shit where it's like not fully true, but you don't know. And I think that the awkwardness, he helped me out with that too. He's just like, you're super awkward on stage. You should, I think if you leaned into that little awkward shit a little more, it'd be your style. I was like, that makes sense. Cause it's like, that's just.
Yeah, you try it. You try all different ways.
Comedical personality. Yeah.
Bro, when you start, you try different stuff. Like I looked at this the other day when I first started. Because I really like Kevin Hart. A lot of people don't like Kevin Hart, but I saw him when I was 12 years old. So like I always knew he'd be a star when I was like a kid. So I was like enamored with how funny he was, how much stuff he did at a young age, right? So when I started, a lot of my stand-up was mannerisms of Kevin Hart. Like a lot of them was.
That makes sense.
And sometimes you'll catch yourself doing stuff. Yeah. But you try a bunch of stuff because then you won't find your voice. I haven't found mine. I don't think I have. I don't think I have. And you try to find what you're trying to do. You lean into it. You try awkward shit. You try loud shit. You try act out stuff. You try. That's the beauty of it. Dane Cook's been doing it for what? I think 30 years almost. He had a whole year, maybe some years back, where he was just doing it, where he didn't move from a spot on stage. And if you know Dane Cook, he moves around. He's active. He's loud. He's hands.
It's crazy.
He didn't move for a whole year. Then for a whole year, he didn't write anything down. Like, that's the thing with stand-up. Like, you don't got to stay in anything. You can try whatever. Now, you're going to try some shit that's going to be fucking horrible. Obviously, 9 times out of 10 is going to be pretty bad. But you figure it out. And you just lean into what it is. And the personal stuff is... I don't think it's the personal stuff that's much me mad. I think it's more mad when I'm trying to speak on what's going on in the world and people... feel like they have this sense of entitlement where they're like, here we go again. We don't want to hear this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I told a crowd that I got mad. I said some Black Lives Matter joke and they didn't want to hear it. And I was like, well, I don't want to hear dick jokes, but I hear them every fucking day.
That's it.
Yeah, I believe as a comedian, you should be able to say whatever you like. Be creative as you want or stupid as you want. It might not be funny, but willing to respect people trying. It does seem like I thought when I first started stand up, it was going to be kind of like when Kevin Hart started stand up. He said that a lot of people just gave him shit. So I thought it was going to be like that. I would come in, people would start talking, like brotherly shit to me, like, oh, that's fucking stupid. But it seems like a lot of people are really mellow. So I kind of had the expectation that I was going to come in and get beat down by fellow comedians, and then nobody said nothing.
It's much nicer. It's much softer now.
Is it because we're in indie though?
But a lot of other things like that. Cities like that. Chicago, they're just like a lot. Comedians are so selfish because they're in their head, so they're only thinking about themselves a lot. But like they're super nice. Like that's how I was. I romanticized this part of stand-up where it's Patrice O'Neal and everyone's young and they're living with each other and they're going places and they're berating people and they're talking shit and like. But that was different. You know what I mean? That's not how it was. Like when I started, it was meaner. You know what I mean? It was a little bit more like Dion was pretty mean to me. But he wasn't like, but I knew how to take that. I knew it was because the shit was horrible.
Dion made me nervous.
He booed me, dog. He would boo me. And I like that because now Dion's like good because now I know David thinks he's funny. I know he knows what ain't it, what he needs to do, who he needs to be around, who he does, like Dion. But also, Dion ain't like that with a lot of other people. He used to boo the fuck out of me, bro. Like bad, and tell me don't do that shit. That shit don't. He'll still tell me that. He still tell me that. I can hit him up right now and talk to him about it. He'll tell me that's not it. That's not gonna go this way. Yeah. But like he knows that I'm not trash. He knows that I have tough skin. Whereas now with stand up, everyone's very inclusive, and they're like, do this and do that, and that to me, that's good for stand up. But to me, it's also bad telling everyone that they're good at everything, because there's some shit that is just not. By the sheer numbers, everyone can't be good at stand up.
Yeah,
I kind of wish that it was. I guess because I'm a little bit older, I guess I wish I went through the rougher part of it, because that's kind of more myself, like my personality wise. I kind of, I talk shit to my friends, and I'm not used to everybody being so nice. I guess
I will with some people. Yeah. I'll tell them when they get off stage, I'll be like, yo, that shit is trash.
Yeah.
But then they keep doing it, and that's fine. You don't have to listen to me.
Yeah.
But I was like, I listened to you. I'm still working on the one that you told me after. I tabled it.
Yeah, you should. Like, and then if you don't want to table,
you should have
tabled. Yeah, you should. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. I have friends that are in comics. I'll tell them.
I was like, I haven't done it since.
Stop doing that shit. Yeah. And they'll keep doing it. And they're like, I'm not getting booked. I'm like, because you keep telling that trash ass shit.
Well, there's shit you can see from the outside. Though. Yeah.
And the same with me. There's certain stuff like, boys, comics told me, like, the hater Tubman joke, bro, it's just not going to work. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, I'm good enough. It'll work. And it works sometimes, but I haven't like written it to a way where it doesn't turn the crowd off.
Yeah.
It turns them off when I'm saying that an influential black woman is a bad employee. She's the worst type of employee. Like, that is brutal. I mean, that's a little shocking for them. So I got to kind of bring it back to where they're okay. Yeah. So now I'm just trying to compare her and Princess Diana.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Princess Diana doesn't have a job and everyone loves her. We don't know what she does.
That's
Y'all
true.
love her. We know what Harriet Tubman does, but we admire her. She took people out of work and home. Yeah. You know what I mean? But they don't like that. And there's a way to do it. There's a way to not do it. Maybe it just won't work. Like I said, maybe I come back to it 15 years later and then it's something that's different when I'm smarter in it or better in it or punched it up. Like, who knows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like I'm dealing with that at the moment with the joke. Also granted the situation going on and what just happened, but I have a school shooting joke.
I'm rooting for it.
That normally
I'm rooting
brutal,
for it.
See, I mean, I stay away from shit like that. It's brutal.
Yeah, I'm thinking about scrapping it, but the only reason I tell it is because half of it works. Like the beginning half works, but once I get to the shooting part, then it's not so silly.
They're done.
Yeah.
I'll just say the half part and just leave the rest out.
I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like, does this make sense to you guys? Like,
no.
Probably not. Because I don't want to sound like terrible, but like I feel like there's a lot of stuff that makes me laugh. Even that school, like I know the climate is terrible, but like
it's like,
I know that's terrible.
Yeah,
I know it's terrible. And I'm like, I think that makes me a terrible person.
No,
but it's funny.
Yeah, it's like when I started comedy, it's like I was super under the impression because I just started watching all these podcasts and then got into the comedy. But it's like what I learned from all that shit, they were just like, there's like people don't understand that comics are coming from a place of joking. Just because they say something fucked up doesn't mean it's their actual thought process of what they're saying.
And I believe you should be able to say what you want, but I also believe you should be held accountable for what you said. I also believe that, like, you know what I mean? If you want to do certain stuff, someone's going to check you for that. Yeah. Like this whole idea where comics being like, it's dangerous to be on stage since Will Smith's day. I was like, learn how to fight, nigga.
No.
Like you got to realize like what you're saying. Like you don't get to just say because you don't get to say whatever you want to say outside.
No, that's true.
I get it. Like no one should ever have to resort into physical violence. But I know, and I had coworkers at the time, if you talk about a man's wife or you talk about a man's partner or whatever, or you are feel like you're personally harming someone, everyone doesn't handle those situations the same way. Comics have to realize that there is power in what we say. I'm not for telling someone what they can and can't say. I won't do that. If you want to tell trans jokes because you think you should tell them, okay, tell them. Yeah. But if you do tell them and they don't go well and there's a backlash and all this, don't be surprised. Yeah. You've hurt some people. Yeah. You've hurt people, so you need to be held accountable. Yeah, and that's from one of my. I got that. I like that, and like my favorite comedian is Chappelle. And a lot of comics will hear this and be like, "Oh, it's girls of Chappelle." I've always loved Chappelle, but also I'm not mad at the transgender community for being pissed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Nah, dog. Because people would be mad. I don't think there's any hate in his heart. No. Obviously, how would they know that? Because if you talk about a group of you talk about my community as much as you are, I feel like maybe there's some people that don't hate. Maybe Donald Trump doesn't hate black people. It doesn't feel like that. You know what I mean? So why wouldn't I not be mad at this nigga? Like I don't know. I don't personally know you. I only go off of what you show me. And I get it with comedians. You say things, you should be held. But you should be held accountable. Not in physical nature, but like understand you calling a man's wife a bitch.
Exactly.
That husband might get you together later. Like, you know what I mean? You can't do, you have to understand it. The crowd might have laughed, might have been a good time. Yes, you're joking. But this whole idea of comedians be like, I should be able to say whatever I want to say and no should be no. I'm like, dog, it's not it. You know what you can and can't say. The comedians should be the ones that do, because teachers know what they can and can't say in the classrooms. What they should be teaching, they should be teaching more, but like certain things, how they got to go about it. You know how to not make your significant other pissed at home.
Exactly, yeah.
You know what I mean? So you should know when you're on stage that maybe the day of Roe versus Wade or whatever, or the day with the abortion ban, maybe you shouldn't be telling a joke about how women shouldn't be mad that they can't get an abortion.
Yeah.
And being like, why are they upset it was a joke? They don't find that funny.
Exactly.
You're just being socially aware of.
That's a big thing with comedians is being aware. A lot of motherfuckers don't have awareness.
That's true.
A lot of comedians do not have any awareness.
That's why I'm like, if like I'll use retard in one of my bits, but it's like I'll use it into a way to set up. It's like to where at the beginning be like, I have a mental problem. I have Tourette's. I legit have a mental issue. So I'm telling you right off the back, I took Ritalin, got Tourette's. Somebody call me a retard. So it's kind of like, and
some people will laugh at that and like that, and there's some people that don't. Dion got a bit like that where he says that word. He says it for a while, and it's a great bit. It's a great bit.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. One of my favorite bits he does. A lot of people like it. A lot of people do not like it.
It's true,
you know what I mean? So I think for me, it's a thing where, say what you want to say.
Yeah.
Say what you need to say. Just there's going to be backlash. And there's backlash and stuff I say.
Oh, yeah. And it's weird because people will get so offended. It's like, I'm talking about myself.
Definitely. No, definitely they will.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Like, so you're mad on my behalf? Like, huh?
I try not to be too conflictual with the crowd.
And I will, I think as I grow older, I will, and there's certain things I do, and I will. I just think there's so many ways to go about what you say, right? There's so many ways to go about a relationship, getting a job, going. There's so many ways. There's no definitive way of just one way of going about it and staying up. I think that's the cool part about it is I can go about it in any way I want. Yeah. But I also got to realize the reaction I get, how do I go listen and figure it out differently? Because that's super hard, but
it's true.
It's the name of the game, I guess.
Yeah, it's look at the draw.
Yeah.
So now that you 6 years deep into it, have you done a lot of festivals? Or are you?
I did 2 festivals. I did a shitball one in 2018. That one was horrible. I was excited to be there. I did Let's Fest in 2018, and then I have been very lazy. I haven't submitted to any. I never submitted to a club or submitted to anything.
How important is festivals? Is that more of a network?
I think it's a network. I think it helps. I think it helps bookers a lot, producers of shows. It helps a lot, and it helps comedians a lot. You want to go on the road and crash with people, and you know people, and it's a good hangout. And you never know who you'll meet, who you come up with. You met like a lot of people at the Sunday show that you see come. Alex has met them at festivals, and he's done festivals with them. Like he's met them; they're his friends. They can come into his home. He can come into his home. It's a relationship, and I think that's where I need to go. I've just met so many comedians being on so many shows and doing well, and them liking me, and then now comedians are finding out that I have a house. So when they want to come stay, they'd rather stay in a house with their own bathroom and their own shower and nice stuff, so they can because you stay in apartments and floors and stuff. So I mean, it's an incentive. So I meet a lot of comics, but I think it's important. I think it's very important, which is why I've been a lazy piece of trash and haven't done it. But that's a perfectionist in me. I want to make sure you pick the right set, right place, somewhere else, doing stuff.
Yeah, I'm really surprised how many people actually know Alex. I've been in Detroit. A lot of people. Yeah, I've name dropped him. Like, I'm out here because I did a class with Alex. They're like, Alex Price? He's the nicest, tallest guy I know.
They met. Yeah, Alex with a lot of people. And then it's nice when you meet people of your own and you'll start seeing people that started with you. I have a few people I have a couple people that started with me. Only one other one's doing it. Yeah. It's crazy.
So you just develop friendships over the years and it just kind of transpires into a working relationship?
Yeah. I heard this from a comic, Austin Real. I don't think you guys have seen Austin Real perform because he kind of stopped. He has kids. He has a life. But he's one of the funniest people I've ever seen. He had a joke that only goes well with black people about how white people call Dr. King, Dr. King. Black people call Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King, and white people don't. And that joke's like, I'm butchering it. He has a whole little bit about it, but like it's super funny. I just remembered that. He told me that, remember, like these are your coworkers. You're not friends with you're not friends with your coworkers. A lot of your coworkers. Yeah. Just because you do comedy, like I'm thinking I'm butchering. Just because you do comedy doesn't make them your friends. So some people you will have friends with, and that's fine. You should respect everyone always. But they're not all your friends, right? So I've met people where I know I've had personal relationships with them and I'm cool. And there's other ones, they're comics and I see them on the road. And you'll see them on the road as you do stand up more and more where you'll only be able to catch them. So now my friends out of town, I only am able to catch them if I'm out on the road and I see them. And that's a nice feeling. It's a sad feeling. But then I have a sad feeling because I did so many mics. I come back in the indie and there's so many comics, I don't know who they are. Yeah. What they are, where they're going. I don't know who they, but they see me. They've heard of my name before or something, which is like insane to me. I don't know who they are because I was that comic too at one point where like I was just everywhere and I picked out a list of people that I saw doing a lot of stuff that I'd like to aspire to do the things that they do. But what did they do to get there? How long do I need to take or whatever? And then you just go do the work.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, and it's cool meeting. There's a lot of comedians that I met that have been super awesome. Like Dustin Burkhardt, he's always been super fucking nice.
Dustin's super nice, cool guy. I'm doing his show soon. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's definitely nice.
Yeah. He's funny too.
Oh yeah. Oh,
he's funny too. Yeah, you ain't tell comedians they're nice, and that means you're not funny.
Oh fuck!
They're a really nice person. Like, that means that motherfucker's not funny.
Well, Dustin, you're a fucking asshole, bro. You're super funny.
He's hilarious. He's hilarious.
Dustin's a funny guy. I like Dustin a lot. I remember when he first started, he came on Liberty Street. Yeah, he hosted Liberty Street, Mike. Terrible.
I'm trying to think of the people I've said were really nice, and I'm like, fuck.
Like, shit. Sorry.
Yeah, but you don't know. But like a lot of comics will say that. Like if I see a comic that I like seen before, like someone like you ask about a comic or something, and you'll be like, "Oh yeah, they're super kind, they're super nice."
Oh no!
And someone's asking you like, "Oh, you've seen so and so?" They follow like, "Yeah, they're nice."
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
they're nice. Like they, you know.
Dustin, you hear that right?
That's very funny.
Yeah.
Okay, he's very funny.
You want to do the weather today? You feel like doing the weather today? Yeah, you got to do.
Okay,
the weather
I gotta say
yeah, get her.
Lauren with the weather.
It is. Oh, it's raining. Sorry, I'm sorry. That was so pathetic. I feel like
that was beautiful.
I didn't have it.
It was,
I know that was bad.
A tsunami.
I didn't have it planned out today. I'm not.
Yeah, it's all right.
I scootered over and I was like, "Fuck the weather." I forgot.
Fuck the weather.
Fuck the weather.
Well, not fuck the weather.
Fuck the weather.
No, not
awesome. Yeah, you got anything coming up? Any shows you want to promote?
Anything you want to fucking plug, man?
We'll be out next week, so if it's this week, I wouldn't plug it in, but
no, then I gotta look at my calendar on camera. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Well, wait, can I ask a goofy question?
Yeah.
Okay, so in one of your sets, you talk about how you're trying to find like love and you only like whores. So when I guess. What's your goal? I guess what's your personal
with whores?
No, just like your type of person and who would
personal quest.
Your personal quest. Like if there was like a game show of like.
I just want someone to be transparent.
Oh, nice.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Just be transparent. Don't whore around on me.
Yeah.
Don't can't be a comic.
Okay.
That's fair. That's
nah.
It's like a small community.
No, you just don't. You don't.
It's weird.
Don't.
It's weird.
You just don't.
I think.
Like they would make jokes about you?
No, you just don't want to go to comic. Just don't do it. You can fuck them if you want, but like don't. There's no purpose to be in a relationship with a fucking comedian at all.
Trauma driven.
That's what I was like.
But it's other people that have done it before. I just don't suggest it. You shouldn't. This sounds bad, but you should never fuck the help. You should never fuck the coworkers. Like, I mean, like people do that a lot.
Fuck the help. Oh my god!
You shouldn't do that.
The help. Those peasants.
No, someone that's transparent, someone that's motivating, inspiring. I mean, that's the type of person I'm seeing now. So yeah.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome. That's fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
This was awesome.
Yeah. Do you? What before we let you plug in here? I guess, fuck, I just had a mind fuck.
That's not good.
I should have smoked weed before I came in.
Mind fuck.
Lauren's bun is pushing our headphones off her head the whole
It's been
time.
a struggle.
I had a beautiful question. Oh, yeah, your clothes selection. What was that? A corduroy suit that I seen you have on at the Sunday show? It was like a brown corduroy suit. It almost looked like 1970s vibe to it.
Was it what jacket was it? What did it say on
I thought it was a matching jacket. It kind of matched the pants. It almost had like a 19.
What color was it?
I thought it was brown.
Corduroy.
It had a 1970s hippie vibe to it, like almost like you got it out of a thrift shop. But
it might have been my buddy. His Instagram is by Michelangelo.
Mm-hmm.
He like hand sews the stitches. I think that's the word. He does all that, like patches stuff up. I've known him since high school.
Nice.
His Angelo's workshop and salon. So out by Fort Bend, he has a workshop in a store below, and above it, his wife runs a salon because that's who does my hair. So I've known them for a long time, and he makes a lot of clothes. And I'm actually trying to go over there today to get another shirt, and hopefully he helps me with my merch. But yeah, his Instagram name is by Michelangelo. He's super cool. Sells a lot of clothes, man. They're very, 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 very good, and I'm very proud and happy. He's another person I keep around for the motivation. But he a lot of the clothes that you see that's weird, that looks stitched together, that looks whatever, that he's probably made that. He's probably made that. And
that's just a cool
I love it. It's definitely unique. Hello. Uh-oh, hello. Oh, hey.
Oh, that's white ladies.
Well,
good morning. It's not morning.
Yeah.
I guess before we get off here,
that one lady said, "What? Me?"
Your upcoming
Yes,
shows.
with the sparkly
upcoming
tail
shows.
Oh, well, there she goes again, the white lady.
Oh, God.
Okay, I think she was choosing.
I'm in Seymour, Indiana, June 15th. They didn't tell me that at the brewery show or bar show. June 16th, I'm at Hotel Tango in Fountain Square. I'm at Hotel Tango headlining that show.
Oh, fuck yeah.
June 17th, I'm in Columbus, Ohio for Don't Tell Comedy. So they don't tell you the venue. You just got to get on don'ttellcomedy.com, and then Columbus, Ohio one there, June 17th.
What? Wow.
June 18th, I am in... looks like I'm double booked on that one. Toss up between my show in Cincinnati, and I'm at Pivot Brewing June 18th in Lexington, Kentucky. And that's that. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, fuck
Nice.
yeah. And what's your Instagram, man?
Oh, Instagram is just at really David B. So just really ReallyDavidB. So really David B. That's on Instagram and Twitter. So yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on, man, taking the time, and it's been a great time. We want to have you on for a minute.
Yeah. Oh yeah, buddy. Anytime you guys need a plug in host or whatever, I love to do it. I appreciate you guys.
Dude, I
I appreciate you.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate that.
Happy birthday.
30-30.
Dirty.
Well, you guys, thanks for checking out another episode of the Angry Chilla podcast. You know, we're gonna have another wonderful guest coming up next week, and then check us out on YouTube. You know, check us out. You know, we love you faces. We love your faces, even though we can't see them. Bye.
Bye bye. Bye, friends.